you don't hate networking. You hate pretending. You hate selling yourself while your brain is screaming, "Get me out of here." If that's you, you're not broken. You're probably just burned out. So let's change that. Today, I'm giving you a brain-based, energy-aligned way to create the kind of connections that actually grow your business without you selling your soul. Years ago, I walked into a networking event, complete with the business cards, the elevator pitch, and the fake smile. And I left with nothing except a lot of exhaustion and a feeling like somehow I must have missed something. What I didn't know about networking then was that it's not about being an extrovert. It's actually about nervous system regulation. It's about connection. It's about energy. And it's about asking better questions. So today I want to share with you how I went from absolutely dreading networking to now using it as one of the most powerful vehicles for collaboration, for connection, and for helping me to build my business with deep soul connections. Let me say something a little radical about networking. Networking is not about what you say. It's about who you are when you walk into the room. It's about being fueled, about being regulated. It's about being grounded. Because when your brain feels safe, everything changes. You have better ideas, you make better eye contact, and you actually listen better, which is what drives connection. Because at the end of the day, networking is never about a pitch. It's about presence. So I'm going to share with you my 3-part framework that I use to effectively navigate networking events and get the best out of them that I can. It's quite a simple framework. It's simply 3 parts. It is regulate, fuel, and serve. And when I remember these 3 things, I'm able to come to those networking events with presence and not feel like I have to perform all the time. So what does it mean to regulate? To regulate means to regulate your nervous system. If your nervous system is dysregulated, you're not going to be able to connect with anybody on an authentic level. And there's some very simple techniques you can use to regulate your nervous system. They mainly involve breath work, and I have 2 favorites that I use. One is box breathing, breathing in for the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, breathing out for the count of 4, and then holding for the count of 4 again. And you can repeat that cycle as often as you need to until you feel your heart rate slow down, your shoulders drop a little, and you might even notice a little smile coming to your face. The second form of breath work that I like to use in the car is to put my favorite tunes on that I can sing along to. Anytime that you are singing along at the top of your voice while you're traveling in the car, you're activating your vagus nerve, and that's communicating to your brain that we're in a safe space and that whatever's coming next is going to be good and we are going to be safe and it's going to be enjoyable. And I really like that. I like to put on my tunes and just drive along and sing to my heart's content. Nobody's listening. And by the time I arrive at the event, I'm able to walk in with presence, not feeling like I have to perform. The second part of the framework is fuel. Now, fuel is critical because a hungry body and a hungry brain is going to be looking for food. It's not going to be focused on making connection. Its first priority is going to be to fuel the system. So what's important to know is that many networking events do serve food, though if you're unsure what the food is going to be, it's wise to fuel with protein before you go. So keep a protein bar or have a protein shake before you leave. A protein bar in the car is always a handy hack, because if you are going to fuel with high carbohydrate snacks, it can lead to a sugar crash, which is then going to steal your energy for connection. So fuel with protein first, keep a protein bar in the car, and when you're at the event, look for foods that you can determine are higher in protein and lower in carbohydrates. The second thing is there are many supplements that you can take on an ongoing basis that are going to help you, generally speaking, manage stress. One of those is magnesium. It's well known as a really great supplement. If you've got a magnesium regime, then keep up your magnesium levels to help the brain cope with the stress of going into a networking event. And then, of course, hydrate. If you are dehydrated, your brain function is going to slow down. The brain needs fuel to function. So keep a water bottle. I travel with a water bottle. I go into the event with a water bottle. And be aware that if you are somebody that has a little bit of anxiety around networking, you might want to steer clear of caffeine. Caffeine can give the sensation, it can elevate your heart rate, which can signal to the brain that there's a problem here. It can misinterpret that signal. So water is always a good option, or herbal teas if you're prone to a reaction from caffeine. And the third part of my framework is serve first. When I first started networking, I thought the idea was that I had to go there and tell everybody what I was selling, and that I had to leave with a whole bunch of connections of people who were going to buy from me. What I've learned about networking is that it's the very, very opposite. And I've learned to choose the context of who can I serve in this event. And I have found when I go in with a thought of who can I serve, either with my offer, maybe my offer is going to serve somebody, or how can I help to connect somebody else with a solution that will work for them? When my brain is working from a service perspective, it de-stresses the performance part of my brain, and it takes the focus off the ego self and onto the next person, which all accumulates and all comes together to allow you to connect authentically with a person. It also helps you to listen better, to connect better, to maintain eye contact with a person, and to, generally speaking, just come across as a helpful, nice kind of person, rather than somebody who's in a hurry trying to sell somebody something all of the time. Nobody likes that kind of person, but everybody likes to be able to speak. So how do you manage this? One is choose the context while you're on your way. Who can I serve today? The purpose of me going here is to look for who I can serve, either through my offer or through connecting somebody to another person's offer. And then at the event, it's about asking questions. So remember to ask not, so what do you do? Which is, definitely not going to inspire a conversation. It's normally a dead end. Ask people what is lighting them up right now. What is their most exciting project that they're working on? And let them tell you. This gives you the benefit of understanding whether or not your offer is the right offer for them. You can learn to understand where their need is. And that gives you the opportunity to serve in one of those two ways. So remember the framework. Regulate first, fuel, and serve first. Now, I want to pause here and say something, especially for the introverts out there, or maybe my neurodivergents out there. I'm pretty introverted, and networking is actually something that takes me way out of my comfort zone. And I know a lot of introverts find this a really big challenge, which is why I'm giving you this framework, because it's a framework that I, as an introvert, have used. Though I know many extroverts who find that although they assume that networking is going to be easy for them, or they assume that they should be good at it, they seem to leave these events feeling like they haven't quite gotten what they wanted out of them. And so introverts and extroverts both have stumbling blocks in networking scenarios. And that's why my framework works so well, because extroverts' challenge is often that they're exuberant and excited, and sometimes they miss the deeper cues that's going on in a conversation and may miss the person they're speaking to. So this framework of serve first is very, very powerful, because it helps introverts and neurodivergents to actually take back control of the conversation and to manage themselves. And it helps extroverts to slow the conversation down so that they don't miss any of the deeper cues. So if you are nervous about how to start the conversation, to be honest, this is often the worst part. You walk up to somebody and you want to introduce yourself, and the only thing that comes to your head is, so what do you do? And it just is not an inspiring question. So when you come from the serve first framework, it becomes a little easier to think of better questions to ask. Some really great questions that you can use are things like, tell me about a project that you're working on right now. What is the most exciting thing that you've achieved over the last couple of weeks since we met before? What is the thing that you would most value today out of this? What have you come to gain out of this event today? What are you looking for? So these are questions that are driven actually by innate human curiosity. And when you can find in yourself the seed of curiosity. I wonder what drives this person. I wonder what's important to them right now. What starts to happen is we get past that lame question of, so what do you do? And we're able to engage with the person on a more human-centric level. If this sounds like a lot and you're thinking, goodness gracious, these seem like pretty high level questions to ask, I've actually put them into a document for you. It's a networking starter pack, and I'll put the link in the description below, and you can download this and you can have a little cheat sheet before you go to your next event. And that might be very helpful so that you can engage in conversation that's natural and curiosity driven. At the end of the day, this isn't just about networking, is it? This is about the kind of woman that you're becoming. And I have watched women who've learned how to utilize networking to grow their businesses effectively blossom and perfect their offer and really start to show up and shine and grow. And it's a beautiful space to watch people in as they're growing through this. And that's really at the root of what I do in the Freedom Collective. The Freedom Collective is a membership group for women entrepreneurs where we help people build businesses on the foundational values of abundance, freedom, and joy. We work on mindset, we work on skills and systems and strategy, and it's all supported by a really empowering community of women who are going to build you up and build your confidence so that when you go out into those networking events, you go in there with confidence and presence. We are starting our next 90-day sprint now in July, and I have got an offer for you that is definitely a no-brainer. If you join our next sprint before the 25th of July, you're going to get the whole annual membership at 50% off. I've never done this before. I have never given such a big discount on my membership. So before the 25th of July, if you've become a member, an annual member, you're going to get it at 50% off. If you join as a monthly member, you're going to get a free one-on-one session with me after your first 30 days. So run, don't walk, because the Freedom Collective is where you're going to be able to manage your brain, your mindset with brain-based techniques, learn skills and strategies to build a business that is going to set you free, not create a prison of your own making. Stay tuned for every week I release one of these videos. So put a comment in the chats. What was the most valuable thing that you took away from this video today? Hit the subscribe button, put your notifications on so you don't miss it every Monday, and then you can subscribe to my newsletter. The link's also in the description if you really are enjoying these neuroscience-based tips for you and for building your business. Until next time.